The early morning air around the forward Ukrainian observation post was still and cold, carrying the faint scent of damp soil and pine. Inside a camouflaged command van tucked beneath the branches, a small team of drone operators worked quietly, each absorbed in the glow of their monitors. The hum of electronics blended with the soft tapping of keyboard keys, creating a steady rhythm that felt almost calm until the tension of the job crept back into focus. Sergeant Olena Hritsenko, the mission coordinator, leaned forward in her chair, studying the live feed from a high-altitude reconnaissance drone. The view panned slowly over a patchwork of fields and winding roads, each segment of terrain meticulously scanned and tagged. "Sector 3 is clear," she murmured, making notes on her tablet. "Shift to Sector 4. Beside her, Mykola, the youngest operator on the team, adjusted his headset and guided a smaller, quadcopter-like drone across a narrow dirt road. He was skilled despite his age, moving his controls with delicate, almost artistic precision. The drone's camera wove between clusters of bare trees before emerging, above an open stretch of highway. "No movement yet," he said, though his voice carried a subtle edge of expectation. Everyone knew this quiet rarely lasted. In the corner of the van, an intelligence officer monitored intercepted communications, listening through static and fragmented chatter. "Russian logistics have been active all morning," he said without looking up. "If they're pushing reinforcements, they'll have to use these roads." Olena exhaled slowly, her breath fogging the chilled air for just a moment. She had led dozens of missions like this, yet each one felt different. The stakes were always shifting, always rising. She checked the battery levels of the drone swarm and glanced at the feed again. Then Mykola's voice sharpened. "Hold on, I've got something." His drone zoomed in on a faint dust trail in the distance. At first it seemed like nothing more than a gust of wind brushing the road, but the silhouette of a moving column soon took shape. The van fell silent. Through the haze, armored trucks and transport vehicles rolled forward in tight formation, more than expected, and moving fast. Olena straightened. "Targets confirmed," she said calmly, though her pulse quickened. "Team, prepare strike drones." This just turned into a real operation. The command van vibrated faintly as the launch rails outside powered up, their motors humming like distant wasps awakening. Inside, the Ukrainian drone team moved with quiet efficiency, each operator slipping into the synchronized rhythm of a well-practiced crew. The reconnaissance drone still tracked the Russian convoy as it thundered down the narrow road, its armored silhouettes growing sharper with every passing second. "Strike drones are green," announced Bodan, the team's senior pilot. He tapped a series of commands into his console, and the screen lit up with telemetry from two newly activated attack drones. Their rotors whirred softly as they lifted into the grey morning sky, disappearing through the mist like shadows with wings. "Altitude steady. Navigation locked," Mykola said, watching the drones climb above the treetops. The strike units were small, barely larger than a hawk, but each carried enough explosive power to cripple a vehicle with pinpoint precision. Their compact frames made them almost silent, nearly invisible against the pale horizon. Olena stood behind the operators, arms folded, eyes fixed on the monitors. "Keep them low. We want to get within range before they know anything is coming." The drones obeyed their programming flawlessly, hugging the terrain as they skimmed over the frost-covered fields. Thin wisps of fog curled around their paths, hiding them naturally from anyone on the ground. Bodan traced their route on his tablet, redirecting their course as the convoy approached a bottleneck, a stretch, a road flanked by steep embankments where maneuvering would be nearly impossible. "Perfect spot," he muttered. "If we hit the front and the rear, the rest will be trapped." As the Russian vehicles rumbled into the choke point, the drone operators exchanged a brief nod. The moment had arrived. "Arming warheads," Bodan said. His voice was calm, almost too calm, the tone of someone who had done this many times, but never took it lightly. The first strike drone descended gently, adjusting its angle, its camera locking onto the lead armored truck. A red outline formed around the target. "Locked," Mykola whispered. The second drone mirrored its movement from behind, hovering silently above the last vehicle in the column. "Execute," Olena ordered. Two bright flashes erupted almost simultaneously, sharp, contained blasts that echoed across the fields. The lead vehicle jerked sideways, wheels twisting off the road. The rear truck erupted in sparks as its engine compartment was blown apart. Instantly, the convoy froze. Brakes screeched. Soldiers spilled out in confusion, shouting orders lost beneath the ringing aftermath of the explosions. And far above them, invisible in the mist, the drones circled back for further commands. For a moment, the drone team thought the strike had gone flawlessly. The Russian convoy was stalled, vehicles scattered in disarray along the narrow road. Some trucks tried reversing awkwardly, while soldiers scrambled into defensive positions, unsure where the attack had originated. The drone operators watched from their monitors, the battlefield spread out in crisp detail on their screens. But then, an abrupt stutter rippled across the feed. Mykola frowned, tapping the side of his headset. Is anyone else getting interference?" Before anyone could answer, the main feed from the reconnaissance drone glitched violently. Colors warped. Pixels scrambled, and then the image froze altogether. A harsh buzzing filled the operators' headsets. "Jamming," Bodan said sharply. "They've got EW trucks in the convoy." As if on cue, one of the larger Russian vehicles unfolded a tall, skeletal antenna. A low-frequency pulse emanated from it, unseen but unmistakable. The screens inside the command van blinked and flickered like a swarm of fireflies. Telemetry streams from the strike drones turned into gibberish. The control interface lagged by seconds, then entire frames began dropping. The operators' faces tightened with focus. "Backup channel now," Olena ordered. She leaned forward, her fingers flying across the console as she initiated the encrypted fallback system. But the EW truck had anticipated that too. Another blast of jamming rolled through the air, sweeping every channel at once. For a moment, the van was swallowed in a tense silence broken only by static. "We're losing them," Mykola whispered, staring helplessly at the drifting drone indicators. Without control, the strike drones hovered uncertainly, swaying in place like insects caught in a storm. Olena closed her eyes for half a second, thinking, calculating, forcing down a surge of frustration. Then she snapped her fingers, switched to frequency hopping mode. "No manual input. Let the system cycle until it finds a clean pocket." Bodan hesitated. "That'll blind us for 30 seconds. "It's either that or we lose the drones completely," she replied. He swallowed, nodded, and engaged the automated command. Instantly, both strike drones shot upward, climbing to a safer altitude where the jamming was weaker. Their video feeds cut out entirely, but the operators trusted the system to keep them airborne. Below, confident that the drones had been neutralized, the Russian EW team momentarily powered down their signal to recalibrate. Olena saw it first, one tiny green bar returning on the screen. "Wait, I've got a lock re-establishing." The static cleared just enough to reveal the EW truck's position. "That's our window," she said, her voice steady but electric with tension. "Get ready for counterstrike!" The moment the signal flickered back to life, even in broken fragments, the energy inside the command van shifted. Operators leaned forward, eyes sharp, hands poised above their controls. The static dissolved just enough to reveal the outline of the Russian electronic warfare. Truck, its antenna still, partially folded as the crew prepared for another jamming burst. "They think we're blind," Bodan murmured, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Not for long," Olena replied. "Reacquire target. Bring the drones into attack position." The strike drones, now flying above the thinning fog, responded to the revived command link with mechanical precision. Their stabilization systems corrected their course, and they began descending in smooth arcs toward the still confused convoy. Mykola watched as their telemetry steadied, gauges returning to green one by one. "We're fully locked in," he said, both drones armed and tracking. Below, the Russian soldiers were scattering into defensive positions around the stalled vehicles. Some fired blindly into the sky, hoping to hit an unseen enemy. Others huddled behind armored plating, shouting orders drowned by the rumble of failing engines. The EW truck crew scrambled to bring their system back online, oblivious to the danger descending upon them. Drone 1, take the jamming truck, Olena instructed. Drone 2, hit the nearest transport. We need them immobilized. Executing, Bodan confirmed. High above, the first strike drone angled its nose downward, locking onto the EW truck with unmistakable precision. It dove quickly, too quickly for anyone below to react. A sharp flash followed, a perfect strike that tore through the jamming equipment and sent a plume of debris spiraling upward. The antenna collapsed instantly, smoke curling from the ruined vehicle. The second drone struck moments later. Its payload detonated beneath the chassis of a nearby transport truck, flipping it onto its side and blocking the remainder of the convoy's retreat path. Soldiers threw themselves to the ground as debris rained across the road. Inside the van, the operators watched the convoy unravel. Vehicles were completely trapped, engines disabled, communication disrupted. The previously chaotic battlefield stabilized into a clear tactical victory. Olena exhaled, finally allowing her shoulders to ease. Mission accomplished, she said quietly. Mikola grinned, the tension finally leaving his face. Didn't think we'd get them back, he admitted. We did, Olena replied, her voice steady. Because we kept our heads. And because the drones weren't the only ones adapting today. Outside, the morning fog began to lift, revealing a road littered with crippled machinery and abandoned vehicles, a silent testament to a team's quick thinking and precision under pressure.